Welcome and thank you for joining us for today's webinar, Top Social Media and Reputation Tips from Award-Winning Dealers. My name is Eliana Raggio and I'll be your moderator today. And today's webinar is being presented by DealerOn. And for anyone who isn't familiar with DealerOn, well, we're an award-winning website development company and digital agency. And we're best known for our search engine optimization, our amazing customer service, and our award-winning, high-converting websites. DealerOn was named the top-rated website provider by Driving Sales in 2011, 2012, and 2013. And DealerOn customers have been winners of the Digital Dealer Website Excellence Awards, highly coveted overall winner, and unprecedented 5 times in a row. We're the only website company that can claim that. DealerOn is so committed to lead conversion, optimization, and customer service that we're the only company in the industry to offer a money-back lead guarantee program. So, does your website company guarantee you leads? Well, then maybe you should check us out at dealeron.com. And we have a great show in store for you today. We're very pleased to have Alexi Veneri as our presenter today. Alexi Veneri is co-founder and CEO of Digital Airstrike, one of the fastest-growing automotive social media and reputation management companies, specializing in full-service programs that give dealers an unfair online advantage. Alexi was most recently president of Auto Media Blue Flame 6, one of the largest automotive advertising agencies owned by the Van Tile Group. Prior positions also include Vice President of Marketing, PR, and Investor Relations at DealerTrack, Chief Marketing Officer at Who's Calling, and Director of Marketing for the Major League Baseball team, the Seattle Mariners. Alexi is an accomplished public speaker and author of the best-selling book, Balls, 6 Rules for Winning the Business Game. Alexi can be reached at alexi@digitalairstrike.com or by phone at 206-669-6989. Now, during the presentation, if you have any questions, please use the question feature located on the corner of your screen to submit them. At the end of the presentation, we'll answer those questions of general interest. If we're unable to get to your question live, don't worry, we'll respond by email later today. Also, don't forget, a link to download a copy of the webinar recording will also be emailed to you later today for your reference, and please feel free to share it with friends and colleagues. And guess what? Our good friends at Digital Airstrike are giving away a fantastic prize today on the webinar. What is it? They're going to be awarding one of you lucky webinar attendees with a Microsoft Surface tablet. This prize is valued at $450, and which of us could not use this awesome prize? Now, if you want to win it, you just got to stay on the live broadcast. All you have to do is stay tuned for the details after Alexi's presentation, and you could be scoring this awesome prize today. And at the conclusion of the webinar, you're going to receive a short survey, so please fill it out because we're always looking for great feedback from our audience. Today we're going to randomly select a couple of people from all the completed surveys to also win some Google prizes. So let's get started. Let's learn the top social media and reputation tips from award-winning dealers. Alexi Veneri, it has been far too long, my friend, since I have had you on my show. How are you?
I am doing great. Thank you for that awesome introduction. And, I'm honestly excited about that prize as well. Tablets are so cool.
I so wish I was eligible to win this stupid prizes. I love these kind of great prizes.
Me too. I can't win this one either.
Well, audience, you're in for a treat. This is going to be a great, great webinar and a great prize, too. So make sure you pay attention because I know what the question is. And it's not a lay down. Let's put it that way, all right? So, Alexi, we're going to be learning about all kinds of great stuff today. Where do we begin?
Yeah, well, just for everyone that's joined the line, thank you so much for spending some time with us today. We thought it would be really cool to share with you guys some of the recent award winners. Every year we look at dealers from across the country. This year we looked at over 1,400. And really, they're literally from everywhere. And we looked at a number of sources to see who is really doing the social media thing right, including, how they're engaging with likers, prospects, customers online, as well as just their overall online reputation. And then just some tips. How are they doing this? Why are they so successful? And are there things that we could pull out and share with a broader group so you guys could hopefully grab a couple ideas and run with it in your dealership? So that's really the focus for today. I think it's cool to see real dealers and not just hear about theory, but really see the guys and gals out there that are getting things done. So So that's our goal today. I'm just going to jump right in. We definitely do want this to be interactive, so chat away, ask questions, and if we can't get to them at the end of the session today, as we just mentioned, we will certainly follow up with you guys individually. We're more than happy to share any information we can. So with that, these are the categories we're going to cover. If you guys want to see the full list of award winners, and then even go online and check out what they're doing, you can find that on our website under our recent press releases. Today we're going to just focus on 4 categories. We wanted to kind of keep it concise and pick out the ones we thought might have the best tips that would have some really tangible applications in your dealership. So we're going to start looking at social engagement and what some of the dealerships are doing in terms of local Facebook reach. There's a lot changing with Facebook, and I think it's a good time to kind of update the audience on, really what's relevant. And some of the strategies you guys may have been employing even a couple months ago may not be as effective today. So we wanted to share why that might be occurring and some changes with Facebook. We're also going to talk about Facebook ads. This is really the up-and-coming thing when it comes to social media, and it's really interesting to see real results. So it makes it very tangible, and I think for the first time pretty much ever in the last couple months, you can now really get great ROI from Facebook ads. So we wanted to share some details on that. Then we're going to take a look at some dealers that have done a great job managing their online reputation. So see what they're getting in terms of their scores, star ratings, volume of reviews, and some tips on just how they did that. And then last but not least, when it comes to engaging with your prospects, customers online, it is all about how satisfied they are. You want to make sure you're taking care of them, and you've really taken that into your own hands. So we're going to share some examples of dealers that are really getting great results there and how they're doing that as well. So let's just jump into local Facebook reach and talk about a couple of the dealers that recently won awards. If you guys weren't aware, these awards were just presented last month at NADA, so it's very, very recent. We're looking at very recent data. The first award-winning dealer is Sutton Ford Lincoln Mercury. They are really focused on driving in-market fans. So they are hyper-targeting people in their geographic region, looking for ways to reach them and engage them with local content. And the stat that we thought was really astounding is that 98% of all of the fans that like their business page are from a 50-mile radius, and they have over 10,000 likers. I mean, that is amazing, because sometimes dealers have employed strategies where maybe they've run, games or some contests that weren't really local, and even with the best intentions, oftentimes those get shared to friends of people that like the page, and that, market base can really expand. That's not to say sometimes that isn't a good thing. I know a lot of dealers that have an amazing BDC center that they do a lot of sales outside of their hyper-local region, but it's always great if you can be reaching those people right there in your market that are, in market to buy and service at your dealership. Their reach is almost 5,000 users per day. So that means that when they do a post, almost 5,000 people are seeing it for every post. And that number is huge. If you guys are tracking your own stats and looking at what your own posts are doing, my guess is that it's not even close to that number. So that's a pretty amazing achievement. And then on a daily basis, they've got over 100 of those people engaging with their page. And that, honestly, guys, for an individual dealership Facebook page is pretty astounding. You might see, a couple likes on a post. You might see a couple shares. You might, definitely have some back and forth in terms of conversations if you're doing a daily post strategy. But to get 109 a day doing that on average, that is pretty phenomenal. The next dealer we wanted to look at in terms of having a real local reach. One moment, sorry. Something's going on here with the deck. 1 minute.
You all right there, pal?
I am good. It really wants to jump ahead and show you guys more examples. Here we go. The next dealer we wanted to showcase is Paragon Honda. They are out there in New York, and they are one of the largest Honda dealers. They as well do leverage their local base. They've got 92% of their fans within a 50-mile radius. And again, very close to almost 10,000 likers. So you can see if you guys are trying to set a benchmark for where you might want to be an award-winning dealer next year, that is a really good benchmark to shoot for. Now, the reason why they were our Platinum Award dealer is we love having likers and fans, absolutely, but it is all about users and engagement. That is really where social media matters, and then ultimately turning those engaged users on Facebook into traffic for your dealership, engaged prospects that are clicking through to your website, setting appointments. So they really knocked it out of the park. They've got over 12,000 users per day and over 170 engaged users per day actually interacting on their page. They've got a lot of engaging content, local content. They're really done a good job to cultivate that base. So it's obvious that the people that are following their page are really finding it useful and very loyal to this dealership. So again, if you guys are trying to set some benchmarks, that's exactly where you want to be. So how do you do that? What are some of the tricks from these dealers? What are they doing to get that engagement up? Well, I'm not going to say all of the dealers that have tons of engagement are doing Facebook ads, but we've definitely found that is a very successful strategy is to ensure your posts are actually being seen in the news feed. And, this may be obvious to some, but it's interesting to talk to a lot of dealers recently, especially at NADA. They didn't really realize how tight the filter on the news feeds have become for business posts. So to simplify this and explain what I'm talking about, if you are posting on a daily basis, you may think that those posts are showing up in the news feed of all of the likers of your page, whether you've got a couple hundred or a couple thousand. That is simply not the case. The news feed itself is really, really strict, and it is now estimates that we've seen. It used to be as high as maybe 15% of the posts would show up in a news feed. So that would be that, you were posting 100% of the time, only 15% would ultimately show up in an individual liker's news feed that's already liked your page. Now the estimates are down to as low as 3 to 5% of every post. So for every 100 posts that you do, individuals may only see 3 to 5 of those. So chances of them actually seeing your content, unless they deliberately go to your page, are really low right now. How you beat that is you have to advertise. You can advertise to your current liker base. You can advertise to people with different targeting around your area that haven't yet liked your page, but that's really having even a light Facebook ad buy will make sure your content is being seen. The other thing that we've seen that works really well is to have a great mix of content. You can't just be posting every day about how's the weather, it's another snow day, or every day talking about, some incentive or offer or special on specific vehicles. You want a blend of all of that. You want to talk about local events. You want to talk about what's going on in your dealership, community, charities and little leagues and stuff that you guys might be sponsoring. Make it engaging and make sure you do have good content that has variety and some good frequency. The other thing that we've seen is if you're responding to posts and you do make them interactive, that will help with your on-page engagement. So if you guys were just to pick 3 things to focus on, these are the top tips that I would definitely recommend to get that engagement level up for your page. And what does high engagement look like? Well, here's some examples. So again, we're trying to show you guys real examples of what that can look like on a page. So these are, this is from one of our top dealers, Sutton Ford Lincoln Mercury. You can see doing a post that asks them to, answer a question, describe a vehicle in 1 word. That's where you're going to get the likes. That's where you're going to get the comments and the shares. And that is what you should be focused on. So it's not just about post every day and hope for the best. You really have to look at these metrics and see what works. Okay, since I just mentioned Facebook ads, why don't we talk a little bit about Facebook ads and which dealers are having success with Facebook ads. The first winner that we're going to showcase is Anchorage Chrysler Jeep Ram. They are in Alaska, and they are Alaska's largest Chrysler dealership. 11 acres of vehicles. As you can see, they've got a lot of land up there. But it's pretty amazing how creative they've been, and they are on a mission to dominate using social media and digital marketing techniques to really grab from a large geographic region, but not just in Alaska. They really want to be seen as the dealer kind of in the uber northwest that is, has the best value and the best options available. Running a very targeted ad campaign, they were able to add 1,000 likers in just 5 weeks. And these are all valid likers, people that are in market, in their region, and real consumers that like their page. So again, if you guys are looking for kind of a benchmark, and if you've ever tried to do this, you'll know that's a pretty amazing accomplishment. Pairing the Facebook ads with an email capture form is a great strategy. And that's what they did. They also, in this 5-week period, ran a contest. So instead of just getting 1,000 people to like their page, and you may not know who they are, they were actually able to gather 150 new leads with email addresses in just over a month. They really increased their page engagement. That's another tip, that when you get fresh new likers, your posts are more likely to show up in their news feed, and they're more likely to engage with your page because they just recently liked the page. And it's astounding how much their page reach has increased. So they're now reaching over 3,000 unique users a day with their feeds, and that's through the combination of really having new likers, some great content, the contest they ran, as well as running Facebook ads. And guys, Facebook ads do not have to cost you a lot of money. We've seen success with Facebook ads, spending anywhere from a couple $100 a month to, just over $1,000. And when you look at that as a media buy and what you're spending everywhere else to buy on radio, cable, direct mail, you name it, that is a really good return on your investment. If you can track back 150 people that actually gave you their contact information that you could be following up with ongoing long-term, as well as a guaranteed, not just impressions, but 1,000 people that engage with your page to follow you for future content.
Alexi, could I interrupt you for a sec? We had a question. We had a question about that last dealership, and I didn't want it to go too far. But so Michael wrote in. First of all, these numbers that you're giving out, these are just really, really astounding numbers. I mean, just from. Is it just sheer volume?
You're
okay.
speechless.
I am, because I didn't realize that dealers could have such incredible numbers when it came to social media. Michael wrote in, he wanted to know, is the region, the Alaska dealership that you were talking about, is the region that you're saying is large is because it is Alaska? Because I didn't realize that there were that many dealerships in Alaska, but I'm obviously wrong.
No, well, what's interesting is kind of a combination, right? I mentioned the dealership itself is pretty big, right? They stretch over 11 acres with their vehicles. But because there aren't that many people up in Alaska, they're really trying to draw from the whole state. So their local reach would be a little bit bigger than other people, but it is a pretty incredible example considering they don't have as many people. They don't have as much competition, granted, but when you're just looking at Facebook itself, and what they were able to do, that is an amazing number. In fact, it's so amazing that Chrysler themselves were really trying to dig in to say, what is this dealership doing? What's different? What's going on? We work with a lot of the OEMs, and that's a pretty interesting example because they are in a tough market. They might not have a ton of competition, but there's just not as many people there. So they have to get creative. And we do tend to find you can learn a lot from dealers that are in smaller markets because they just simply have to get creative. Or sometimes smaller dealers in the big markets that have to compete with the big guys that don't have huge hundreds of thousands of dollars every month to spend in traditional advertising, they're going to find ways to really leverage more of the creative digital mediums. So it's pretty interesting for sure. I'd say with this example, though, this is kind of more a traditional market, right? We're going to launch into Bob Stell Chevrolet. They're in San Diego, obviously a large market, a Chevy dealer in San Diego, and they've really embraced social media as well and found that running Facebook ads is making a big difference for them. In terms of the results they were looking to get, they were really hyper-focused on generating traffic to their website. And that's something else that I wanted to share that dealers may not be aware of. When you're running Facebook ads, you can actually drive traffic not just to your Facebook page, but drive them over to your website. So their campaign was a little different. They tracked over 7,000 website page views, unique views on different pages. So that's obviously multiple people that could be going to multiple pages, right? But in terms of the actual clicks and how many people were first-time unique users, so individuals, not just the page views, they had over 1,700 brand new people see their website in 8 weeks that had never been to their website. And I think that is gold for dealers, right? Or in this case, our platinum winner But, I mean, that's what you want, and you want these kind of metrics. So if you guys are focused on social media, you're thinking of doing Facebook ads, you know, those are the kind of metrics you want to be able to look at and go, man, this is a great return on my investment. Where else are you getting this kind of return? Aside from that, they absolutely did still want to drive traffic to their Facebook page. This campaign had a strategy of some of the ads driving them to Facebook, some driving them to their website, some driving them to the Facebook page first, then clicking over to the website. Their page reach is also huge. They are now, I mean, this is really amazing, reaching over 7,500 unique users a day on their page. A day. That is crazy. And the campaign was also
doing that.
Is bilingual. I know, isn't it amazing? It's great. And a bilingual campaign. So obviously, considering their market, they felt that they wanted to be advertising in both English and Spanish, and tested the ads and saw what works. I mean, this is not something you go into lightly. You want to have a plan, a strategy, and marketing is always, you know, about testing, right? So 8 weeks, 2 months, I'm telling you guys, you could do this too. You just need to have a thoughtful campaign and be ready and able to adjust it ongoing. So,
we have a couple questions about.
Impressive.
They're very impressive. We have a couple questions about those stats. Do you think you could go back for just a moment? I'm sorry.
Sure.
First of all, Michael wrote in. He said he's known the owner of Bob Stall's for years, and he is very digitally focused. So our first question would be, do you think this has to come from the very top? Is this like, hey, if the owner knows that the internet is where it's at and to be all about social media and reputation management, then success will follow? Or is this something that...
I think that, you know, that totally helps, but, you know, the likelihood of everyone having an owner that gets this isn't necessarily high. So I think what you want to do is use some of these real case studies, and again, we can share data like this with you guys. It starts if there's an advocate in the dealership that really believes that your store should be doing this. Bring some results like this with a plan for even a small test. I can't imagine a dealer general manager out there that wouldn't be open to spending $500 a month, $1,000 just to see what you guys could do. But you want to do it the right way, because if they're going to give you a shot to try this, you want to have a plan. You potentially want to work with a partner that really knows how to do this so that you can get these results. And these are not unusual. While these are maybe our top, best of the best in the last, let's say, 6 months that we saw running ads, an average dealer running an average campaign can still get great results, and we could certainly share that with you guys offline. And, you know, call some dealers. Our network of dealers is just amazing. We work with about 2,200 dealers. They are the best of the best. They're so willing to share with each other. In fact, we've just launched regional dealer 20 groups for our clients, and we're also inviting non-clients to come, purely educational, so you guys can kind of share some of these best practices, because really we're just real fortunate to have great success stories and dealers that are willing to tell other dealers how to do it. So, but yeah, I'm glad you guys know this dealership, but it doesn't just have to be someone that's uber focused on digital marketing. You can take, I think, a very specific case study to your general manager or dealer principal and show them what you want to try. And again, we can give you some more kind of average results, and even those will blow them away, I'm sure.
Fantastic. That's a great answer to a great question. Somebody else asked, how do they do the bilingual thing? David wrote in, do they have separate Facebook pages for English and Spanish, or do they have the English and the Spanish both on the same Facebook page?
Yep, great question. We work with a number of dealers that run bilingual ads with us. So we will actually create the ad, obviously, in multiple languages and drive it to pages that are language appropriate. So you don't actually have to customize the entire Facebook page. We suggest that you keep one page and have different tabs and content that would be appropriate for the different languages you are targeting. So if you're running, let's say, in this example, we've got a couple of examples. One was a contest that was run for a hockey game. One was one to get a prepaid MasterCard for taking a test drive, I believe. Those ads themselves and the pages where you would capture information they'd enter to win would be customized for the language. So if we're running a Spanish Facebook ad, it would take you to a Spanish page on your main Facebook page. So I don't recommend you guys have totally different Facebook pages. You want one, and then you have different pages with different content that would be appropriate for the different audiences.
And do you also recommend to keep it the more local, the better, or just the sky's the limit?
It's really a blend. We for sure see running local contests And, content works, but it doesn't just have to be that local content. Again, working with a number of OEMs, we've seen, tier 2 campaigns you guys might be running with your local dealers association, where all of you are kind of pooling funds to promote one contest, one incentive, one sweepstakes. That can work too. It just kind of depends on what you have. It doesn't always take that much to get people to want to like a page and give you their information. We've seen it everything from offering free car wash it. Enter this forum and get a free car wash a month on us, and suddenly you'll boost all of your liker count, as well as actually capture some new people on a lead capture form. So we work with our dealers to kind of try a blend and just track results. But you just have to have a plan, just like you would with any other marketing campaign.
Alexi, you're putting out such great stuff. Where do we go from here?
Well, I'll keep going.
Great questions from the audience, by the way. So audience, please keep sending in those questions. They're wonderful.
Yeah, I love it. So a couple tips we've seen that work really, really well. Facebook now has some great hyper-targeting capabilities. So when you are running your ads, you can not only pick by geographic region, interest, custom audience. Polk data is now available, and guys, this is amazing. We would have to kind of connect you with somebody that would probably spend a lot of time telling you exactly how to use Polk the right way, but in essence, it is data on automotive intenders that are in market to buy vehicles. This is so huge, or who might be in market to actually service vehicles, right? So it's really predictive data based on vehicles that have been registered to people in your area. This is a game changer with Facebook ads. Now, of course, factoring in all of these considerations as well as driving some custom campaigns, you can upload your own database from your CRM and see if there's a match, and Facebook will run ads to your own custom audience. There's a lot of different things you guys can do. That's why there's not just kind of like one simple silver bullet, here you go, this is what works, but you have to use this data and you have to track it. And when you do, we are seeing incredible results. The other thing we suggest is you really want to advertise to drive prospects to data capture forms, whether you're running a contest, a coupon, maybe you have a membership rewards loyalty program, you want them to, even an appointment for test drive and win a prize, appointment scheduled for service, some special you're running, a quoting tool, you name it, drive them to a data capture page. They will fill it out, and even if they don't, it's an option, so why not give them that option, right? And definitely use eye-catching images. And you can change those images on the ads based on the targeting you're doing. So this is getting a little creative and really strategic, but honestly, based on gender, age, you could be changing up the image even if the content and the contest or the data capture form is the same. So tons of cool things you can do with Facebook ads, and this is what we're seeing is working. So just don't run an ad to run an ad. Make sure it's a thoughtful campaign because you're putting money behind it. But when you do it the right way, it definitely will get you guys results. Okay, so going back, a couple more examples, speaking of results. Well, what are some things that have worked? We have seen running charities, promotions, as well as local contests. I'm pretty sure every dealership I know gets, free tickets to sporting events from your ad agency. Use those tickets for campaigns like this. Don't be afraid to ask your other media partners for things. So, you guys spend a lot of money, let's say, with your local cable company. Ask them in advance if you can get something for the following month and then run a contest. Even something as simple as an iPad can still definitely drive traffic. So don't be afraid to get creative. Use those images, as we said, and you guys can really get some great results. All right, I think we're on to the poll question.
Oh, we have our first poll question, audience. I hope you're ready for it. It's a pretty good one. Why don't you look at your screen right now and answer this question for us. Do you currently use Facebook as a lead generation tool? Please select just one of the following options. Is it yes, we do? Or is it no, we don't? Is it sometimes? We sometimes use it. Maybe you're not sure, you're not in that position where you would specifically know, about Facebook usage at your dealership. Or maybe you've tried it in the past, but you didn't have very good success, or maybe no success at all. So whatever the answer is, we want to know, do you currently use Facebook as a lead generation tool? Yes, no, sometimes, not sure, or yeah, we've tried it, and it didn't really work out for us. Once I get a majority of the votes, we'll close the poll and share the results. And audience, thank you so much. Your votes are coming in so fast. I really appreciate it. Almost everyone's voted, so we'll just wait a few more seconds, and then we'll close this poll and share the results. And I assume, Alexi, that you're hoping most people will say yes?
Well, it'd be great if they said yes. I think historically, when kind of dealers were first getting into it, I think they were told by a lot of people, Facebook isn't lead gen, right? They're like, this is just used to engage and build community and, cultivate existing customer relationships, which it absolutely can be. But now more than ever with things like the tools I just described, you can really use it as a lead gen tool for sure. So some dealers might just be starting to use it to drive specific inbound leads on a data capture form or, clicking over to their website.
Yeah, it's great that you brought that up because we have one of our attendees, Willis, who wrote in. He says he only uses Facebook because of contests, for contests and stuff, and they don't really use it for anything else, but they know that they have a long road to go. So, Willis, hopefully this webinar will help you out and give you some extra ideas to take the most advantage of your Facebook and your other social media outlets. So let's close this poll and share the results. Alexi, are you ready for this?
Absolutely.
32% of today's audience said yes, they do currently use Facebook as a lead generation tool. Alas, 34% of today's audience said no, they don't. 21% said that they do use it sometimes for lead generation. Only 2% said that they weren't sure, and 11% said that they have tried it in the past, but they didn't have very much success with it. Is that kind of what you thought? I mean, that sounds like the average, I would think, right?
Yeah, I actually think it's a little high in terms of people saying they do use it for specific lead gen, probably because we've got such an engaging audience that, you've got the greatest dealers that are on your webinars, so they are a little more digitally savvy.
I do have some pretty cool dealers.
Yeah, in terms of an average dealership, I don't think they necessarily yet think it is for lead gen, right? So we're trying to change that perception because it's really, the world of social media is changing, daily, it seems like. So what worked a year ago is probably different today for sure. So we're definitely trying to get that message out that there's some great new tools to actually use it to drive leads for sure.
Well, I mean, I know that there's some dealers out there. They probably aren't on my webinars, but I know that they exist where they still aren't convinced about this whole newfangled thing called the internet. So, but for the most part, if they're on the cutting edge, they're usually on my webinar. So, audience, of course, I want to thank you for being
so that's actually
always awesome.
So I'm excited. Yeah, we'd love to hear what they're doing too. So if anybody wants to email me or let me know what's working, that would be great. We'd love to hear from you. So let's move on to the reputation side of things. So I think, again, most people on this webinar really do get that the online reputation matters and drives leads. We do a study twice a year in addition to our social media awards. We actually go out there and we ask consumers that have purchased a vehicle in the last 6 months, how important are review sites and actually seeing those star ratings, whether it's in search results or actually on review sites. It was pretty amazing that the fourth study we've done, and that was just this past fall, a couple months ago, 44% said that they find review sites the most helpful or as helpful as a dealership's website. And that is the first time that number has actually surpassed them saying they found the website itself the most important source of information. So that is pretty incredible, and that's showing that consumers really believe what they read in those reviews more than they believe whatever you're saying about yourself on your website. So this is really important. Dealers really need a plan, maybe some partners working with them, just some ways to maximize content. And honestly, handle the volume of stuff you should be updating in all of these sites. We frequently manage about 50 sites for dealers, and that's pretty incredible when people think 50 sites. There are 50 social media and review sites out there, and yes, there are. In some markets, we see upwards of 25 review sites a dealer can rate it on that they should be managing. There are just tons of social networks, as you guys know, digital asset sites, everything from Pinterest to how do you leverage Instagram to, what are the latest and greatest things on Facebook and Twitter and YouTube and you name it, right? So definitely having a strategy and a plan to manage your online reputation is really important for dealers for sure. So which are the top review sites? We get this question a lot. You could look at traffic, rankings, SEO relevance. You can also talk to the sites themselves. A lot of them will say they are one of the top review sites. What we like to do, though, is really make this independent and go to the consumers. We want to ask the consumers that, okay, you told us, Mr. or Mrs. Car Buyer that just bought a vehicle, that you went to review sites and they were really influential in which dealership you ultimately bought from or serviced from. We track both. So which ones did you go to? And pretty consistently, we are seeing Cars.com and Edmunds ranking right there at the top, followed by Google, Yelp. It's also interesting to see Facebook crack into the top 10. So Facebook does have reviews now. I don't know if you guys know that, but consumers are aware of it. They're looking at those reviews on Facebook. It's not just content, it's that star rating. So these are the ones that have ranked in our latest study. So if nothing else, we really recommend dealers focus on these review sites and see how you rank, what your score is, your quantity of reviews, the recency of reviews, and then how that really compares to your biggest competition. So you might think you're doing great with a 3.5 star and 5 reviews on Cars.com, but what if everybody else in your market has, 4 star and 30 reviews, right? So in the consumer's eyes, you're not necessarily going to be ranking as well as you think you are. So definitely take a look and know your score. So speaking of scores, we've got a couple dealers we wanted to share with you to let you know, again, if you guys are really going for the gold and looking for what might be an amazing reputation and kind of volume of reviews, what is out there. And the first one I want to share is Paradise Chevrolet Cadillac. They're also in California. And we tracked how many reviews they actually received on the top 5 review sites. And again, not that we don't care about all of the review sites, but these were the ones that car buyers said matter to them, and they really rank well in search engine results, right? So how many were they able to get last year? They were able to get over 1,000 reviews in a year on just these 5 sites, brand new reviews. These aren't legacy. That is in 2013. Their star rating is almost 4.8 average stars, which is awesome on those sites. And 78% of all the reviews were rated 4 or 5 stars for this dealership. We also track the reviews and content that the dealers are gathering themselves. And this is a strategy that I think more dealers need to embrace, that you can actually generate your own ratings. Ask customers to give you a direct rating and see what they are saying about you directly so you can help control that. And we found that their customer surveys, over about 95% of them were also rated 4 or 5 stars. So that is definitely a dealer and a reputation I think everybody would want to emulate, and we're really proud of that dealership. So to give you guys an idea of what is a stellar reputation. So what does this look like directly for this dealership? Just some examples on specific sites. You guys could go there right now. You could look at the rating on Edmunds, 56 new reviews in 1 year. And to give you guys a sense of how important and awesome that is, taking data directly from some of these review sites, they are averaging for an average dealer across the country that a dealership might get about 5 to 8 new reviews in a year, and this dealer got 56. So they're obviously doing something right. Service reviews matter too, so don't just focus on people that are buying cars. We've definitely surveyed consumers that are in market to buy, and they say they look at both sales and service. They don't just want to know that it's a great experience when they buy from you. They want to know that you take care of your customers long term. So they were able to maintain that for both sales and service. It can tend to be a little harder to get a service review only because it's maybe not as, I guess, of a big life moment, right? When you buy a new vehicle, that's when you want to strike and get those customers to leave a public review because they're more likely to be kind of more engaged and more excited. But you don't want to forget about those service customers by any means. Definitely try to get them to leave reviews as well. Now here's a crazy number. They on Cars.com were able to get 633 reviews, which is pretty incredible, and 440 of those were last year. So again, when you compare that to the average dealer maybe getting 5 new reviews in a whole year, that is astounding. All of those reviews are verified customer reviews. They're real reviews. There was no gaming involved. It was just literally making it really, really simple and easy for happy customers to click a link and leave a review. You can also see them on Yelp. So again, all of this stuff is public information. You guys could go check them out. But tons of reviews they're getting on these sites. And I think that's a key tip and strategy. You want to have a variety of reviews across multiple sites because consumers go to multiple sites. There's different flavors of car buyers. And you want more content to be on these sites more frequently because then they'll rank in search engine results. So to start off with, if you guys are really going to embark on a strategy this year to go after improving your online reputation, there's a couple of things you should really think about. What is your process for getting customer feedback? Is it a formalized process that your staff is trained on? And not only getting customer feedback directly to your dealership, because where you got to start to get good reviews is make sure you're providing great service. You also want to make sure that when you do provide great service and you have happy customers, you've got a process to make it easy for them to leave reviews. How do you monitor when you get those good reviews? Do you respond to them? Is there a specific person you've designated, either somebody in-house or a vendor that you're asking to do this, and have you set very specific criteria around time to respond? How quickly? What should they be doing? And are you tracking that they are actually doing what you've asked them to do? Same thing for social. As we've talked about, people kind of traditionally think social media is just Facebook. Well, Facebook has reviews now too. So you've got to have great content on there as well. Same kind of thing, who's responsible for it, how frequently, and do you have things like check-in offers? I'm going to talk about this in a minute because it's really a key tip to get some online reviews. And are these offers updated? Make sure you've got something compelling and that you're testing not only the offers, but maybe testing some Facebook ads. Another tip we have is absolutely respond to positive and negative reviews. That can make a difference. Responding to a positive review will act like a billboard, right? Someone said something wonderful about you, they complimented you. You want to take up some real estate and thank them and look like the most amazing dealership in the world. So don't forget to respond to positive for sure, because that person that left you that compliment will see your response. The sites give them an alert. It makes them even more likely to want to refer your dealership to other people. They're going to be wowed by the fact that you took the time to respond. When it comes to negative, responding quickly and professionally is the key. You can absolutely turn an unhappy customer or prospect around by responding quickly and giving them a real easy way to reach you directly. We really suggest posting a direct phone number for someone that can solve their problem, whether that's the GSM or your service director or your general manager directly. We have some of the busiest dealerships in the country publish their cell phone. We've done it and seen it with Paragon Honda. We've done it with Norm Reeves Honda on both coasts, and those are dealers selling crazy volumes of vehicles, and the general manager feels, you know what, it's that important. If someone's upset, I want them to call me directly. It can make a huge difference. And then what it also does is it takes this kind of debate and conversation offline. In the eyes of other consumers, customers are always right. So no matter how inaccurate or what miscommunication might have gone on, if someone's unhappy online, you may know the real story is something a little different. Doesn't matter. Anything that's published online, other consumers will believe. So you want to really take any sort of debate or back and forth offline and just work on fixing the situation so that this customer hopefully turns around and is happy and will change their review. And we've definitely seen that happen. Also remember that public response is for everyone else that's looking at this to see how you're going to handle it, has to be professional. And just by, I think, giving them a direct way to reach you shows that you care and makes a big difference. We also suggest that you don't have to accept blame, but still apologize that that person's unhappy. I mean, nobody wants unhappy prospects or customers out there. Some other things that you can do when you are handling the reviews is, aside from posting that professional message on the website, you want to try to private message the people too. Some review sites let you private message the reviewers. Oftentimes you can kind of do some due diligence and find out in your CRM system who this person is, and you've got more contact information yourself. So go ahead and reach out to them, email them, call them, try to fix it offline. Don't be passive. And really try to work to help them and fix the situation. And then based on whatever happened, even if it was just miscommunication, work with your staff so that you don't have the same issue happen again. Another thing you can do is see if the review itself might violate a review site's terms or conditions. And this actually happens more frequently than you think. Now, of course, the tip is you have to know all the terms and conditions or work with a partner that does, but there's certain things that reviews, cannot have in them, such as some review sites for privacy considerations do not allow a review to mention first and last name of an individual. So if somebody was really upset and said, you know what, Tom Smith was horrible, he treated me poorly, just the fact that they put Tom Smith in the review could help you get that entire review removed from the review site. So because these review sites don't edit reviews, if they see something that violates it and you can prove it and reference it, they can just take the whole review down. Just make sure you're really specific when you're submitting a request to dispute a review and have it taken down, and state the exact term or condition for each site. They're more likely than to pay attention and take it down. Now, of course, sometimes, and it's really unfortunate, you might find that someone is just aggressively doing something that is fraudulent. We have absolutely seen competitors go after other dealerships. There was one dealer we worked with that over the course of one weekend had 30 completely fraudulent, fake, false reviews posted about them that were all negative. And we were able to work with them and legal counsel to seek the IP addresses and ultimately prove to these sites they were fake and get them removed. So hopefully this doesn't happen to you, but it does happen out there. Life isn't fair and people sometimes do some shady things. So just be prepared to watch for those things if it does happen and be ready to take action. All right, what other tips can you guys take away from this? Well, definitely we want you to get more reviews. Some tips that we've found are pretty basic in a way. Just ask for reviews. We really find that using a survey directly from the dealership is incredibly effective. For many of our dealers, we send out a survey every night to everyone that purchased sales or service. You can do this yourself. We've got the survey tools. Send out a survey, get feedback, and then just ask them to leave a public review. Make it easy. Include links that are directly taking them to your page. Give them options to leave reviews, and just make it simple for them. We definitely encourage that you for sure do that for the happiest customers, and really thank them for leaving their survey feedback, and then ask them to leave a review. And then oftentimes, because it is your survey, and as long as your survey language allows you to use their comments in marketing, you can take all of those great survey feedback and ratings you're gathering yourself and use them in a testimonial feed. So in essence, you're creating your own content. They're from your real customers if you're using your DMS to survey them. And this makes this content really invaluable. Again, in our study, we find that when other prospects and consumers can see that they're real customers that have actually visited your dealership and you promote that, they're more likely to believe the content, and it's very helpful for them. So how else do you get reviews? Definitely train your staff just to ask for them. We have seen some dealers offer incentives and contests. So every time, let's say a staff member is mentioned in a review, they get a spiff, or there's a monthly contest running for who gets the most reviews in a month, their customers, and you can track that in a number of different ways. We also suggest that you encourage customers to leave reviews from their mobile devices right when they're in your dealership. So not using your Wi-Fi, your computer at all, but using your own mobile device like their cell phone. Have signage around this, right? You can actually have business cards that when any of your staff see that they've really got a happy customer, it can make it real easy to give the customer the direct access to certain sites to check in and leave reviews. And then when you're doing that, really determine which sites you feel are either driving the most traffic to you today, or you're not getting a lot of traffic from it, right? Maybe go off of our top 5 review site list and look at your Google Analytics. Which one of these sites really aren't performing in terms of driving clicks to your website, and maybe you need to focus a bit more on those. And then some of the sites will allow you to check in offers like Yelp. So update those offers regularly based on tracking what works. How many people are claiming the offer? Are you getting more reviews? Just really track the metrics closely. So why should you even offer check-ins? When somebody checks in at your dealership, it actually acts like a kind of passive recommendation to their network of friends. So their friends will see they've checked in at your dealership, whether it's on Yelp or Square, on Facebook, and that's really powerful stuff. So that alone is worth it. Usually your check-in offer will generate more business and a deal, so that's giving you guys business. Plus, everyone loves deals, everyone loves coupons. That tends to lead to happier customers, which are then more likely to leave a positive review. And we're also finding that if a customer is checked in, let's say on Yelp, They are way less likely to have their review filtered, and I know that's always the top complaint about Yelp. So the best strategy we have today is you want to get check-ins, because people that check in and leave a review are way less likely to get filtered out. And definitely the mobile device is the way to go for that. So there we go. I think we're on to another poll question.
Audience, thank you so much. I got to tell you, Alexi, I am getting so many great questions from the audience. You just wait for question and answer time, because we have some amazing questions from the audience for you. So, but for right now, audience, I need you to look at your screen and check out this poll question. And be very careful, because on this one, I want to make sure you select the right answer. So the question is, what do you think is the best way to handle public reviews? Please select one of the following answers, keeping in mind that the last answer is all of the above. So the first answer is, do you private message them, call them, and or email the customer directly? Do you work to resolve but not defend your stance on whatever happened? Again, perception is reality. Do you work on internal training so issues like this don't continue to pop up? And if that customer review online violates the site's terms or agreements, do you go and then try to dispute it and get that customer review taken down, or do you do a mixture of all of the above? So once we get a majority of the votes in, we'll close this poll and share the results. And the votes are coming in fast, audience. We love when you get together and get involved with our poll questions. So thank you so much. And I cannot wait to see what everyone says. And by the way, while we're waiting, I did want to bring up this comment that was made by one of our attendees. His name is Michael. He says, one of the things I found is that it is easier to get in contact with that negative reviewer by finding them in the CRM and having the highest person in the dealership contact them, so that we're not asking the customer to go out of their way to contact us to resolve that issue, you know, as opposed to forcing that customer who's already mad at us, forcing them to call us. So that one comes from Michael. All right, Alexi, I just wanted you to know that.
Yeah, that is a great tip. I totally agree. When I mentioned earlier, go into your CRM, find out who they are. Now, sometimes we find when people leave a review, it's kind of hard to know who they are. They might have, you know, kind of a different screen name, you know, Cargirl123. Sometimes you can do a little CSI to just look at what they're saying, maybe the date they say they came in, and track down who this unhappy person might be. But I completely agree. Go into your CRM, try to contact them. Someone that's very senior will always, I think, have an impact with them for sure. Obviously, prep that person before they make the call so they kind of know the history. Don't throw them in there kind of blind, but I completely agree. Although still definitely publish something online publicly, because you know, it just shows the rest of the world that you've also provided an easy way for them to contact you if they do want to reach out.
That is awesome. Okay, well, we are getting a lot of great comments about this question too. Yes, we were talking about a bad review, how to handle bad public reviews. We assume that if you get a good review, you're going to write on in and say thank you and post it all over the dealership. So here we go. Let's close this poll and share those results. Well, 88% of today's amazing audience said all of the above. Now, for the few dissenters out there who choose only one thing to do, well, 8% of today's audience said that they work to resolve, not defend. Perception is reality. 3% of today's audience said that they private message, call, and or email the customer directly. And only 1% said that they work on internal training so issues like this don't continue to happen. Alexi, what do you think about that?
I think you have a smart audience.
My audience is awesome.
Yes, the answer is all of the above. I would have a blend of all of those things depending on the situation. And just make sure you train whomever is responsible for this in your dealership, or if you're working with a vendor, that they know kind of how you'd like them to handle things. So everyone's, you know, focused on this all the time. So you never know when you're going to get those reviews popping up.
All right, back to you, Alexi.
Well, moving right along. We're down to the last category, and then we can open up for Q&A here. Looking at the last category in terms of, you know, what are dealers doing to help their online reputation and generate, you know, engagement? we've really found that it all comes down to customer satisfaction, and how you can really gauge that is you have to have some way to poll or survey your customers. So some examples of surveys that we're seeing in the volume you can get, at least from the dealers that we've worked with and looked at. Milton Rubin Toyota does a great job of surveying their customers. They're located in Georgia, and their surveys come back, overwhelmingly positive. You can see some of the stats there. They really then take those survey results and display them prominently. So the survey gives them the permission to do that, because customers can opt in or opt out to allow their comments to be shared publicly. And when you get these great surveys, we're talking about, check out 1,300 service surveys filled out last year. That is a ton of comments and testimonials they can be promoting, and they do on their website, on their Facebook page. They also use an app from our company where they can actually send real-time results to other people within their dealership to share the feedback, all from their mobile phone. So that's a great way, too. When you're getting this feedback, you got to use it. You have to use it internally, share it with all of your staff, celebrate when you've got great feedback, and when there's maybe an opportunity to improve, you want to just address it head on and not be afraid of that feedback. Another example, Bob Brown Chevrolet, they also are seeing great service results. They had over 2,000 service surveys, and most rate them really, really highly. 91%, in fact, rated them a 4 or 5 star, and they as well really promote and distribute this content broadly. So that is a great way to take control of your own online reputation. So some tips, how do you do this? Make sure you're hiring people that do have people skills. That may seem obvious, but you're going to learn a lot from these surveys and reviews, and maybe somebody one-on-one with you seems really outgoing and positive and professional, but maybe they're a little bit different when it comes to working with your customers. So you really got to make sure you've got the right people that are well-trained. Some things that we've seen work and feedback, literally looking at what the feedback is when customers fill out surveys from our dealership clients, but also talking to our dealership clients about what they're doing. They say they do things like resell the customers in the service they purchase, whether that's honestly a service customer or sales customer. Make sure they really understand what they got. They're really happy before they ever leave your dealership, and that'll help you guys. Make sure that there's any questions, more feedback they want. Just talk to the customers. Make sure they're totally comfortable, and that's how you help, increase satisfaction and ultimately those survey results and public reviews. Thank them for coming to your dealership. Again, sounds really simple, but just that simple thank you and knowing they have a choice of dealerships. And tell them they're getting a survey. Let them know that you might be sending a survey from your dealership as well as the survey from the manufacturer, and ask them to complete both. Let them know why you're sending this. Say a survey is going to come from our dealership because our owner and our managers want to know how well we're doing and look for ways to improve. And then separately, the manufacturer wants to know about your experience and your satisfaction with the vehicle. So please fill out both. And then certainly encourage them to check in and leave a public review. So all of those are great tips. There's a lot of different surveys out there, whether you work with a vendor, you do it yourself through a CRM. Just survey daily, do it frequently, be consistent, and make sure you have a way to get alerts so you get that feedback, ideally in real time. And then do something with the feedback. Have a plan. Set goals just like you would with, let's say, lead response. So good or bad, when you're getting feedback from your customers and even prospects you can survey, make sure then your team knows what your expectations are to respond and do something with the feedback. And then have fun with it. Use it for training. You could have internal awards. You could say, you know what, for the top sales manager or the top service advisor that gets the highest star ratings in our surveys for this month, you're winning something. That will definitely, I think, not only improve the overall service level and awareness with your staff, but definitely make it a focus for everybody. And then definitely use a survey tool or work with a partner that can make it super easy to go from the survey to your online review sites. You can do it with a link, or there's some new technology out there that we actually use where we can actually convert the survey comments into a public review with the customer's permission, with some amazing integrations we've done directly with the review sites. So it really eliminates that hassle factor step. Just like the audience member earlier mentioned, make it easy for customers, do the work yourself. That's another step that can really make a difference, and that's really where we're seeing tons of increases in public reviews when we make it super easy for customers to get their feedback online. So there you go.
Alexi, just a phenomenal presentation. And we have, I am not kidding, like 20 or 30 phenomenal questions from from our audience too. So audience, I know that we're at the top of the hour. I'm letting you know we are recording this, and we're going to try and get to as many of your questions as possible before Alexi just, calls it quits from sheer exhaustion. All right, so we are going to run overtime. It is going to be recorded. I'd love for you to stick around and hear all these amazing questions and, of course, Alexi's brilliant answers. Before we do that, however, we have a little bit of business to take care of, because if you missed it at the beginning of the webinar, well, I announced that our good friends at Digital Airstrike are giving away a great prize today. One of you lucky webinar attendees is going to be winning a Microsoft Service tablet. So this prize is valued at $450, and I need a new tablet. But all you have to do is answer a simple question about today's presentation. Alexi, can you put it on that next slide with the cute little tablet so everyone can see how awesome this prize is?
Got it. Absolutely.
Yeah. Gels. I'm very gels, okay? One of you is going to win this. All you have to do is be the first person with the correct response to this question. So get up to your keyboards. Good luck, everyone. Here we go. The question is, what are the top 2 review sites according to the Digital Airstrike 2013 Fall Social Media Study? And we have winners. We got a winner. Oh my goodness. Let me see who was the first one to answer correctly. Hold on, everyone. Oh my gosh. Let's see. First one to answer. Oh, look at that. Is that right? Cars.com and Edmunds was the correct response, and the very first person to answer had the correct response. Her name is Renee McDowell. Congratulations, Renee McDowell. You are today's winner. You just scored yourself a very awesome Microsoft Surface tablet. Renee McDowell, please write on in and let me know what dealership you're from so we can give you a proper congratulations. And of course, we also, everyone else on here wants to say, darn it, I wish I won. So Renee McDowell, where are you from? Of course, we also want to thank Digital Airstrike for their incredible generosity. She says she is with Midget Auto Supercenter on the Outer Banks of North Carolina. Congratulations, Renee McDowell. And Christine says, gosh darn it, congratulations, Renee. And David also said he's very jealous. But some people are rooting for you. They said, way to go, Renee. So congratulations. And, of course, thank you, Digital Airstrike. That was an awesome prize.
You're welcome. Yeah, it's really cool. If you guys haven't played around with the new Surface tablets, they're awesome. It's honestly like a real laptop. It's got all of Windows on there. It's really cool.
And there's another Renee on the webinar. She said, darn it, wrong Renee. I love it. You guys are good peeps. All right, well, Renee, congratulations. Okay, we're going to get started with these amazing questions from you, our incredible audience. Let's go to this first question from David. He's not the only one that asked it, but he was definitely the first one to ask it. So here we go. Is there a maximum number of times a day that you should post on Facebook?
That's a good question. It's unlike spamming, though, with email. There's almost not a maximum that would annoy any of your people that would be following your page, only because so few of the posts show up in their newsfeed. I think it's more of a time-benefit analysis around what is the best use of your time to be posting frequently. So I think it's absolutely appropriate to post a couple times a day, at least daily, but you want to make sure that post is relevant and gets seen. The last thing you want is to have annoying posts and have people opt out of your page, which can hurt your page performance. So, just have a content plan. A couple times a day is great. Anything more than that, probably you're not getting a return on your investment, and it would be better to invest in some Facebook ads so any posts you are doing are actually being seen by people.
Thank you for that. I'm just letting you know, Alexi, we have a ton of great questions, so let's try and get through as many. We're going to just power through all these. You ready? Next question. Next question comes from Will. He says, what was the cost for the campaign for the Bob Stahl dealership?
That is a great question. You know what? I was thinking myself we should have put that in there. Off the top of my head, I think it was about $1,000 was the whole thing. It wasn't a lot of money. I think we were running about $500 every month, and it went for 8 weeks. So it wasn't a ton of money. Honestly, guys, this isn't like a media buy where you're doing like a cable or radio buy and you're going to spend 10, 20 grand, it can really be a small investment to get you guys a big return. But you have to have the strategy, the plan, the tools, the way to target, have a contest, have a lead capture form, have to know how to build that or work with a vendor to do that. So, there's more quote-unquote cost than just a media buy. You really need a partner or the time and knowledge to kind of implement that whole strategy as well.
I agree. Okay, great. Thank you for a great question, Will. The next question comes to us from Kelly. I love this question from Kelly. She says, any specific apps or tools that you would recommend for adding or customizing coupons or a coupon tab on a Facebook page? Because, we're all about the great tools and apps.
Yeah, absolutely. Not just on Too Self-Serving. We actually do have apps that we provide for our dealers. So when we customize it for you, there's other kind of off-the-shelf solutions you guys can find and do yourself. We like to make it easy for our dealers, so many of our packages just include that. And for some dealers or dealer groups, we've actually customized, real specific programs where you just want a contest every month and a coupon app and maybe a, the survey or something, right? So we can help you with all of that. It just kind of depends on your needs. But I would definitely invest in something. Again, in our study, and if you guys want to go to our website, you can see the results from that social media study. One of the top things consumers say they like and why they would follow your page is for coupons and information on incentives and promotions. So they definitely want that, and you want to have a way to make it easy to have that content available and keep it updated on your Facebook page.
Kelly, I hope that helps you out. And Alexi, great answer. Okay, let's get to this next one. From Daniel, this is a good question. Earlier when you were talking about the Facebook analytics, he wants to know, can all that same stuff be tracked through Google Analytics for the referral URL? Do Facebook Analytics work the same like Google Analytics, or do you get more from Facebook Analytics?
It's just a little different. They've got great information that can help you drill down to more specific information about the users on your page and what they're doing in terms of engagement. You can also see, kind of similar to Google Analytics, referring sites. So as an example, we put out a survey for our dealers, and we also, aside from encouraging consumers to go to different review sites, we'll have a thank you page at the end that says, hey, follow us on Facebook and Twitter and YouTube. We can actually track how many people click that link, and then that's the referring link to the Facebook page. So a lot of it's similar, but there's actually, I find, a lot more helpful data, especially when you guys, I'm going to sound like a broken record, but you do Facebook ads, because you get amazing data on each of your campaigns, how they performed, and based on the offer, the image change, the different custom settings you set up for each campaign. I mean, it's almost like data overload, but that is incredible, and that's why I think they're so effective, because you can continue to refine and tweak so that you really maximize your spend. I think it's incredibly useful. Now, the one thing, though, I do really recommend is you do have some sort of data capture and a reason for consumers, not just to like your page, but to give you their information. You don't get that level of data with Facebook, so automatically. So you've got to build a form, direct them to a website that has a form, somewhere where you can actually then track that Facebook was the source and people are submitting an address, phone number, email, etc. That is where ultimately we find dealers kind of get the best data right, because it's real leads and prospects. So kind of all of the above, but yeah, it is great data for sure.
Great question, Daniel. Thank you so much for that. Let's go on to our next question. This is a good one, too. This is from Tiandra. By the way, beautiful name. Tiandra says, what is a reasonable monthly budget for Facebook, given that most posts won't be seen by fans unless you boost the posts? What kind of advice can you give to Tiandra and people just like her who don't want to spend too much money but want enough to get the biggest bang for their buck?
Yeah. If you guys are going to test it yourself, I mean, you can do everything from promoted posts to actual custom campaigns. I think you just got to test it. There's not just, like I said, one silver bullet that I could tell you that'll automatically work for your dealership. It depends on your brand, your region, the content you have in those posts. But don't be afraid to try it, because you'll find that, something you didn't even think went off the charts. Offhand, something that we found works really, really well is if you really have a local angle and you even support charities. We've done this for a number of dealers recently, with, the holiday season, and we actually did it for ourselves as well, and we were just kind of amazed at the results you get with just a very small campaign behind it to promote a post like that, because you really are helping the community. Those can really go viral. So I would just try a few things and test it. I mean, you could literally be playing around with a $50 ad buy if you wanted to try this yourself. So don't be afraid to try and get a tiny budget to see what works for your dealership in your region.
Thank you so much for the awesome question, Tiandra. I was reminded, by Michael, to remind the audience, I am recording this, and I will be sending this link to the recording out to you, all of you, probably 3 or 4 hours after this webinar actually concludes. Thank you so much for sticking around. We're going to get through some more of these awesome questions. Now, Alexi, I wanted to let you know, when we were talking about lead generation through Facebook and other social mediums, we generated a bunch of responses, and I picked out 3 in particular. And let's see if I read these to you, maybe you can help these people out and people like them. So Mandy was the first one who wrote in, and she said, for some of our customers, we're able to generate leads, but those leads don't turn into sales, and that is the frustrating part. Denise wrote in, I've been hired to start using Facebook for lead generation. I'm starting from the ground up. So she's looking for some advice. And Willis said, we're trying to get quality leads as much as we can. Unfortunately, most of them are bad, for lack of a better word. Now, for Mandy, Denise, and Willis, and others like them, Alexi, what advice can you give? Like, what's the first thing that they should do or know or learn or be aware of when trying to generate leads from Facebook?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on how you're actually generating those leads and what you consider a successful campaign. So I would have a plan behind it. Really specifically, you could have a plan that maybe you want to get, I don't know, maybe more female buyers in your database and maybe to a specific event that you're running at the dealership. I've seen dealers do things like, get a dinner gift certificate with a test drive, and maybe you're promoting a specific model that, you really haven't a lot of an inventory and you want to move. So you could do a very targeted campaign with lead capture that in order for them to get, let's say, the $50 dinner gift certificate if they take a test drive, they actually have to fill out a form. And then you could actually target, let's say, female buyers or certain demographics using pulse data to try to find local people that weren't already in your database that would maybe want that kind of promotion, and then you just test it. I can't imagine that those would necessarily be considered bad leads. Usually when we do the campaign the right way, have specific goals, and know what kind of results you want to expect, that helps you gauge was it worth the investment. So is your goal around that to spend $200 in an ad buy and let's say give away 40 dinner certificates with the goal of selling 8 cars? And is that a good ROI? Then have those goals set up in place and then test it, right? You also want to promote it to your database that you have existing in your email database and still drive them back to that consistent form maybe on Facebook. So you kind of get a blend. And then you can test and maybe compare which audience performed better. So it's all about metrics and testing it. But when you usually have a very targeted plan like that versus, oh, I'm just going to post online and tell people to fill out a form, having a true campaign around it with goals that you can measure, usually you'll get better results. So lots of different things you can do, but you definitely need to have a plan behind it. The dealers that we showcased today, we have lots of dealer examples where when they've actually had a structured campaign and used some tools, it's really made a big difference versus just kind of playing around on their own. Chances are you're not really going to get the results you want. So I don't know if that helps, but definitely Facebook should be thought of as an amazing digital marketing medium where you can go out and reach people because people are on Facebook. So it's no different than throwing up a TV spot online or on a broadcast, except you can actually really target people and spend a lot less. So in terms of that, I really do think the ROI is there.
I think so too. Mandy, Denise, Willis, good luck. Let Alexi know if there's anything that she or her company can do for you. And let's get on to this next question from Brad. Brad says, I notice that when I post a lot of information in a day, I lose likes. I have a Facebook page that serves as a page for 3 dealerships, service departments, and a body and glass department. Oof. I'd like to blast out information for all through our one Facebook page, but I'm worried that I will post too much in one day. What would be good practice for amounts of posts per day for my situation? Or Alexi, do you think he has too much going on one Facebook page?
Yeah, I mean, I think you want to drive traffic to one page because in theory, everyone's in market for all of the services your dealership or dealership group provides, right? Whether it's, I'm in the market for a service visit for one of my vehicles today, and next month I am going to buy, or I have some body work I need done. I think it's having that content calendar that is really key. So I would agree that if you're doing tons of posts every day, as I mentioned earlier, that's where you could get opt-outs. Now, you might want to do some of those posts a little differently, where they are promoted, where some have images, some have videos attached, and see if that helps you at all. But again, I wouldn't post too much in a day. I would focus on having a calendar where maybe you kind of have a schedule of what you're posting. So Monday is about new vehicles, Tuesday is about pre-owned, Wednesday is about service specials, Thursday is about body shop or whatnot. I mean, just have a calendar in place so that there is a good variety of content and it's not all too much in one day.
I think that's a great idea. Brad, good luck with that. And other people were writing in what they do in those situations. For instance, Daniel says we use separate Twitter accounts for announcements and then one Facebook page for some of them. So that's interesting. I didn't realize that you might be putting out too much great information when there's so many dealerships out there who are just looking for information to put out at all. But I now see, yes, I guess it could be too much information. And how the last part of his question was how many posts per day for that much that's going on do you think would be too much?
How many do I think is too much in one day?
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't do more than 2 to 3. I mean, really, that would be kind of the max. As I said earlier, I think it would be better to focus on quality posts that are really relevant, that maybe you promote separately as well with email content or something you have on your website. So it's really about having an integrated campaign and strategy that is reaching the right audience. Again, I'm going to sound like a broken record, but posting a ton without some sort of plan and potentially a Facebook ad behind at least some of the posts is not only a waste of your time, but as we heard earlier, it can actually result in you losing some likers.
Okay. Thank you so much for that. Michael wrote in, when you were talking about the social media study, Michael was surprised not to see Yellow Pages on there. Is Yellow Pages a high review site?
It's not thought of, I would say, as a review site by consumers, maybe just more of a directory listing. And Yellow Pages itself, in terms of the reviews and how you manage it, they're just a little more difficult. I think you have to kind of claim it. I want to say they actually charge like $1 to claim and respond. There's something kind of funky with that site that I recall. But consumers it doesn't register for them as a review site. That doesn't mean they're not going there, but maybe just the way that they answered the question was that they don't think of going to Yellow Pages to look for reviews. And we honestly don't see it ranked very highly in search engine results. We do a ton of audits on dealers' pages all the time to search for different keywords on the major search engines, and it doesn't tend to rank frequently on page 1. It just doesn't. So, that's also probably part of the perception that consumers just aren't seeing it, so they're not thinking to go there for reviews.
Okay, Michael had a follow-up question, too. He wanted to know what is the last national metric that of shoppers who seek reviews when searching out dealerships?
Yep, so, that's a great question. The latest stat we had was 69% of consumers say that they actively look for and feel they have to read reviews before buying from a dealership. Now, I think all consumers are looking at reviews. We get a little conflicting information where one of our questions asked, even if you don't seek out reviews, do you look at star ratings and search results? In our last study, it was like 81% of the dealers said they do, or consumers said they do. So, I think at least 80% of consumers today are actively looking at ratings and reviews, even if it's just in the search results and they see your score and they don't click through, it's definitely very impactful, and it has to be something that everybody focuses on for sure.
Wow, that's a really high number. That's good to know. Willis said, are Facebook reviews to be taken seriously?
Well, that's actually a really good question. Facebook reviews themselves are a little funky if you guys have looked at them. It's a little nebulous how and when they show up. They're still kind of piloting that program on Facebook itself. There's not like a way you can easily respond to them publicly where other people would automatically see your comments, and it's still kind of in its infancy. But I would say, yeah, I mean, based on our study, consumers are putting some sort of credibility in the score that you have on your Facebook page because it's ranking in the top 10 sites they say they look at for reviews. So whether we really like the way they're doing it right now or not, and they're still trying to figure it out, it's one of those things that we still have to pay attention to and you know, work with. We can't control the sites and the way they run their reviews as much as we would like. So it's just important to stay on top of it and know as they change and how consumers perceive them and how that, you know, then relates back to your business.
Gotcha. Great question, Willis. Chuck had a good question, but it has to do with the slide where you actually had that social media study on there. The Yelp score was actually covered up by the text, and Chuck wanted to know how high Yelp was ranked. Was it anywhere close to Cars.com and Edmunds?
Yeah, I'm going offhand by memory, and we could certainly follow up individually and get you the exact rankings. It's high. It depends a little bit based on your region, though, too, but my recollection is it's usually Cars and Edmunds are neck and neck for the number of people that say they go there. It's the #1 site, followed by Google, followed by Yelp and Yahoo. So it's definitely way up there. Also in our study, to note, consumers say they go to multiple review sites. So while they might say that, you know, let's say Cars.com was the most helpful site for reviews, they also clicked and went to Google and Yelp, you know, so it's definitely up there. Yelp, as we all know, is challenging. You know, there's stuff with them filtering reviews. It can be a hard site to work with, but it's still one of those ones that you do have to factor into your mix for sure. It's up there in the top 5.
Okay, so it's a for sure thing.
Oh, yeah. I would not ignore Yelp. And again, if you were to pick one Yelp strategy, do a check-in offer with some signage and encourage even, I mean, imagine even getting one customer a week to check in and leave a review for their mobile device. And that review, chances are, won't get filtered. So that's kind of like one positive review a week. That can really impact your score because those check-in reviews are just not getting filtered like we're seeing with somebody that might leave a review from their computer, because Yelp not only requires you to be a Yelper, they require that you're a frequent Yelper and that you have a good blend of positive and negative reviews. And frequent Yelper, by their terms, is, you know, leaving a review a month kind of thing. We've done tests, and you leaving a review 6 months ago and then not doing anything and leaving another review will tend to get your most recent review filtered. So it's challenging. So the check-in, and, you know, why is someone in check-in? Give them an offer. We've even seen offers such as check in and get a keychain. You know, stuff you would probably give people anyway. You know, check in for free Wi-Fi. That's a cool strategy too. We've seen some dealers where you ask them to check in and show that they checked in, and then they get a Wi-Fi code. Then again, you don't necessarily want to make it hard for customers to get Wi-Fi if a lot of customers use Wi-Fi in the waiting areas. But there's certain things like that. You know, maybe it's like high-speed premium Wi-Fi, or, you know, get a free, you know, muffin if you've got a cafe. I don't know, but something small can actually get you guys check-in for sure. It doesn't have to be huge.
That's so funny because that was actually...
They're happy. Yeah, their belly's full. They're having their muffin. They'll leave a good review. I mean, I'm not kidding. It's sometimes the simple things like that that can really make a difference.
Yeah, because I was just going to say, we actually had a question from Will who said, what kind of incentives can I offer for check-ins? So there you have it, Will. I didn't even have to ask the question. She answered it for you.
Yeah, there's 2 that I've seen that work really well that are really inexpensive: keychains and car washes. Honestly, whether they're sales, service, doesn't matter. I'm telling you, something really simple. Now, you need a process in your dealership to make sure you can fulfill it. There's nothing worse than, you know, someone having a great marketing idea, putting that offer on Yelp, and then no one in the dealership knowing about it and no one knowing where the keychains are, right? And then that could lead to a bad review. So But if you're going to do something, keep it simple. Tell your entire staff about it. Put out signage so it reminds your staff. It doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to be expensive. And those are two things I've seen work time and time again.
Audience, I'll just let you know, I don't need another keychain, but I will never, ever turn down a car wash.
We're in the business.
Ever.
An average consumer that
I'm just saying, I'll never turn down a car wash. You can give me a free car wash. I will say yes to that.
Give them an option. Yeah, either one. Let them pick, right? There you go. Or a coffee mug.
Okay, well, Renee, the other Renee, said, I would like that info on Yelp as well. The big boys in my department don't think it's worth keeping. Renee, let me tell you, Yelp reviewers are historically, they go all out. They will review everything. They'll review toys that they got. They'll review they just stopped in to get coffee. They just stopped someplace to go get gas. They review everything. So Yelp, yeah. If you're looking for reviews, definitely Yelp is.
Well, and even if for whatever reason people in your dealership themselves don't like Yelp, don't believe in it, just see how it ranks when you type in your name, and look at Google Analytics. People are going there. It ranks highly for search. So whether you like it or not, getting a couple good reviews and enhancing your page and uploading some good photos. They just launched a great new photo reel, by the way. You can, if you can leverage it like a billboard for your dealership, even if you've got a couple negative reviews on there that you're upset about. There's ways you can use the page, definitely. So do not write it off because it is still incredibly impactful, for sure.
Well, while we're talking about Yelp, we do have some great questions from not just one, but like 3 different people here. So, for instance, Willis wrote in, what's the best way to grow reviews on Yelp without being pushy? Daryl wrote in, what's the best way to distribute links to the review pages to our customers without getting blacklisted by review websites? And DJ wrote, how can you get your reviews recommended on Yelp? So a lot of people still have a lot of questions about Yelp and how to get the most out of it. Do we have any advice for them?
Yeah, like I said, the check-ins, doing mobile reviews are the best way for sure. You're not going to get blacklisted. They really believe that if a consumer is checked into their mobile device, they're a real consumer, right? What you don't want to do is you don't want to have a computer or even your Wi-Fi open and encouraging people to go on their iPads or whatever and leave a review because it links back to your IP. And you cannot have a bunch of reviews coming from a single IP because that will get you blacklisted. The other thing is you don't want to just do like a mass, bulk request in one day to hundreds or thousands of people in your database asking them to leave a review. Any review site that sees a flood of reviews coming in all at once will look suspicious and can get you in trouble. So that's why we do nightly surveys. So it's just a constant stream. And even if you had, let's say, 50 customers in your dealership yesterday, response rates you might get 20 that open the email survey, you might get 10 that fill out the survey, and then you might get 3 that say leave a review. That won't get you blacklisted at all. So that's why it's important to do it consistently so it's a steady flow like it normally would be if people were just going to these sites on their own. So there's a couple tips for you there, but yeah, there's certain no-nos that you want to do, and that would include letting people leave reviews from your IP and encouraging a mass group of people to leave reviews all at once. So a couple tips for you.
Gotcha. Okay, great. So that was for DJ Willis and Daryl. By the way, Daryl had a really great follow-up question. He says, we actually are getting way more service reviews compared with our sales reviews. How can we improve our process to solicit more sales reviews?
Great question. One of the things you could do in the dealership is, and I don't know what you're doing today, your process to improve it, but there's always that waiting time in F&I. And again, if you can encourage people to check in or leave a review from their mobile device while they've got that downtime, that would be a great use of their time, especially if you give them an offer. The other thing you can do is just make sure you are surveying right after purchase, like as quickly as you can, letting them know they're going to get a couple of surveys, one from you, one from the dealership, and then making it easy, like I said, with those direct links. We've found we get a ton, as you can see from those results, of sales reviews because we do have the partnership with a number of the review sites where just a couple simple questions when somebody buys, thanking them for buying, asking them to tell us about their experience, and then they do want to convert this feedback into a Cars.com or Edmunds review, they click one button, boom, it becomes an online review, and we've seen a huge increase in sales reviews by doing that. So, you know, that's what we've learned. That's what we do with our dealerships, and we certainly have great success getting those sales reviews out there.
Fantastic. Okay, same question basically came in from Ray, Chuck, and Daniel. They were all asking about check-ins, and how do you monitor that? How do you monitor the check-ins? Is there a trick?
Well, if you have an offer associated, you would track the offer. So that would be the most direct way you can not only track the check-ins, and each site's a little different in terms of stats. I mean, some definitely provide reporting. You can get reports through Yelp as an example on that, but it depends on the site.
But they have a check-in feature on Facebook too, right?
Yes. So you're going to want to have an offer that you can track. If it's, let's say, a service offer you're going to offer, you know, just have an RO code, right? Just make sure that you have a way to see who's actually redeeming it at your dealership, and that's really going to show your dealership true ROI. It's nice to say, oh, last month we had 30 check-ins. The next question out of someone's mouth is, yeah, but what did that do for our dealership? So, you know, you really want to say, yeah, we had this many check-ins, but hey, we had 10 people walk in and redeem this offer, and ideally, not just check in, which is a great referral and recommendation, but just turn into more business for us. You know, we had some sales customers that maybe weren't planning on bringing their second vehicle in for service, but we ran this awesome promotion on, you know, oil changes or $100 off a $300 service visit, or even something like an accessory discount. I mean, that's always a great upsell. So not only are you getting those check-ins, but you're actually driving business, and that's a win-win. So just have a plan, and these offers don't have to be crazy. It could be stuff you're already doing somewhere else. Just make sure you put a unique code or something to track back to the site so you can, you know, ensure that you know that that was from a check-in offer you had running on a social network.
Alexi, you are a trooper. Do you need to take like a swig of some water or something? Because we are down to the last 5 questions.
Oh my goodness. Okay,
I know, I told you.
Here.
You had a lot of really, really, really great questions from this audience. Okay,
Cool.
no, really, take a drink. Let's get through these we'll power through these last few ones. And audience, thank you so much for sticking around for these awesome questions. Okay, Daniel wrote and he says, so the check-in, we use an open Wi-Fi and are considering a more secure dealer Wi-Fi access that requires an end-user license agreement to access and the option to log in via Facebook, Twitter, or Google+, or any other social media, or email. So we have a higher capture rate. Or are you just asking the customer to go to our social sites?
Check-ins would be really through a mobile device, not on your IP. So when we're talking about check-in, yes, they could, in theory, on some sites, say that they were there through a network, but really how a check-in works is it's geo-targeted to their phone with GPS. So it would actually have nothing to do with your Wi-Fi. It would be completely through their mobile device.
So we want to have
like location settings turned on their phone and tell them to check in on their cell phone, smartphone. That's what you want them to do.
So we just want to have signage in the dealership and stuff, right? And so that they know to check in.
Signage, yeah. For our dealers, we'll create signs. We'll do like global business cards. Most people that are pretty savvy and have apps loaded on their phone to check in know how to do it. You just got to tell them to do it, and they'll do it. I do it. I do it for non-auto all the time. I'll be at a restaurant. I'll be at a hair salon, and they say, check in and receive 10% off hair products. I'm like,
hey, I'm down for a 10% off.
Yeah, I do it. I mean, there's many people do it, especially Gen Y. So, and I'm not Gen Y. I'm a little older. But, yeah, definitely, they'll know how to do it. You just got to give them a reason to do it.
Now, Daniel's asking, won't they still be using our IP address to access, to check in?
No, on their phone.
Yeah, because they're using the phone system. They're not using your IP address. So it's still safe. Yep. Don't worry, you won't get banned, Daniel. Just get some signage. You'll be good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they're not going to likely go to their phone, turn on, web-enabled IP, and then go to a website through the IP on their phone. They wouldn't do that. They would have location settings turned on their phone where it's literally GPS to their cell network, and that's what you want. And that's 99% of the time how they would do it anyway, so they would know how to do that.
Oh, he wrote, great, thanks. Good luck with that, Daniel. Okay, David, okay, Alexi, I know that you wait every Thursday for my weekly webinars and you watch all of them, right? So
Absolutely.
you would know that Tracy Myers he did one of my webinars, and he had this great suggestion where he said to put a big TV in your showroom with reviews, customer reviews, like splashing up, across this television screen. So it was like in people's faces, but hey, it's TV and they got nothing else to watch, so why not watch that, right? So we wanted to know, did you like that? David wanted to know, did you like that suggestion when it comes to customer reviews?
Yeah, it's actually interesting. We're talking to one of the manufacturers now, one of the Highlines, where they're looking at actually installing kind of like a reader board in dealerships that would be like a big flat screen to do exactly that. And they were going to do it based on the comments from manufacturer surveys. Now, I don't know that every dealer wants that, but we do a version of that as well, where we will take, based on dealer preference, let's say you want all your 3, 4, 5 stars and positive surveys put in the feed. We have a testimonial feed that's actually on our dealers' Facebook pages. It's on a toolbar that can be on your website. It can be framed in as an iframe. I absolutely think whatever method you can to showcase the positive comments is completely a win. So if you have flat screens and you want to have a loop doing that and you can load it, for sure. I mean, that's a home run. Anywhere you can showcase positive reviews and surveys will be helpful to your dealership.
I think so too. All right, let's keep moving along. Mary just wrote in. She says, if you're not familiar with check-ins, can you send her to a place where she can learn more about them?
Yeah, if you want, just send us a spreadsheet of all those specific requests with contact info, and we will make sure our team follows up with you guys.
Mary, do you have Alexi's email address on there? It's alexi@digitalairstrike.com. Then that is where you would send that request. And Alexi, there, she's going to send it to you. Okay. And anyone else, by the way, if you have any questions for Alexi or our good folks over at Digital Airstrike, I promise you, I know them very, very well, and they are wonderful, kind, and very friendly people. You definitely want to reach out to them, and they will be able to help you, I promise you. So, Alexi, we still have some more questions, but I think what I'm going to do is call it quits now. Are you exhausted? Do we put you through the ringer?
Email those to us. Exactly. We'll follow up with you guys individually. I love the engagement. You guys are amazing. And, yeah, definitely follow our own Facebook page. I would be remiss if I didn't mention that. So go to Facebook and look for Digital Airstrike. We post a ton of helpful tips all the time. You can get the latest and greatest. We have a blog on our website. You can follow that. Don't be shy. Join our webinars. Whatever you can do to stay on top of these trends, because things do change frequently, and it's great you guys are so engaged and ready and able to learn new stuff.
Yes, and who better to learn it from than somebody like Alexi. Alexi, thank you so much. You are such an eloquent speaker. Thank you so much for being here again. I hope that all these, I know I kept you a half hour late, but, please don't hold that against me. Please come back and do another webinar with me. She didn't answer. Oh, gosh.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm here. I'm here. Thank you so much. And you guys are awesome. Yoran is amazing to put these on. You always do an incredible job, and we're more than happy to participate.
Very kind of you. Thank you so much. Audience, thank you for sticking around. I wanted to let you know, hey, I know you want a copy of this webinar recording. Don't worry. I'm going to send it out to you in just a few hours. You can also check it out online at dealeron.com/webinars, where you are going to be able to see all of our past webinars and view our upcoming webinars too. So definitely do that. But if you want to see this one, go to dealeron.com/webinars and click on the link for on-demand webinars. Also, this webinar is just going to conclude in just a moment, and you're going to receive a short survey. Please fill it out. We're always looking for great feedback from our audience. We want you to tell us how you thought Alexi did today. After that, we're going to randomly select a couple of people from all those completed surveys to also win some Google prizes. And invitations will be going out tomorrow for our next webinar. And I know you've been asking for it, and here it is. How to really sell vehicles from the service lane. So if you aren't selling from your service lane, you're missing out on selling a whole lot of cars. After all, your best customers are already doing business with you in your service lane. So while they're there, why not get your customers out of their current car and put them in a new car for about the same payment? And in fact, 10 to 20% of the current customers in the average dealership database could trade their vehicles in right now for a new one at about the same payment with no money down from the customer. Perfect, right? I know what you're thinking. Well, which customers should we approach and how should we be messaging them? Well, guess what? Jim Kristoff is going to be here. He has the answers. He's going to show you step by step how easy and profitable it is to sell from your service lane. This thrilling one-hour webinar will also cover best practices, processes, word tracks, and mindsets. You're going to learn how to swiftly and dramatically build tremendous sales right from your service drive. Furthermore, a comprehensive sales process from your service lane will also greatly increase customer loyalty, customer retention, and, of course, your bottom line. So if you're ready to finally find out how to really sell vehicles from your service lane, well, then you just can't afford to miss this presentation. This is the webinar you've been waiting for, so don't miss it. It's going to be another fabulous presentation by your friends at DealerOn. And don't forget, DealerOn's weekly webinars are held every Thursday, 12 noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. And we have some awesome webinar subjects planned for this year. But if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions regarding these webinars and our topics, please feel free to contact me directly. My name is Eliana. I love hearing from you. Track me down online or email me at eliana@dealeron.com. Thank you all so very much for spending this time with us today, and I hope to see you all on a future webinar in our continuing education series. Have a good one.